Alright, let's take a look at Super Friends, The Fury of the Super Foes. This is the latest DC Finest. This came out a few weeks back. I meant to do a video on it, and the end of the year just fell upon me. I mean, it's been very, very busy. I like these. I've said this before. I like the DC Finest stuff. That's their answer, finally, to the Marvel Epic collections. The Epic collections are cool, too. They usually just collect a swath of just issue numbers or something. This collects eras, and I kind of like this. Saturday morning comes to comics. So this is when Super Friends became a comic. Super Friends, of course, debuted on television in 1973 to 1985. The last two seasons were tied to the Superpowers toy line. Super Friends, of course, featured Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Robin, whoever else. I mean, like all sorts of DC characters, and a lot of people were introduced to DC with this. This collects comics from 1978 to 1979. It's the entire run of Super Friends and some material from other like limited collector's editions, etc. So let's get into this. This is a lot of fun. This is a great trade paperback. Great idea for one. Here they are. Here's Wendy and Marvin, and the Wonder Dog from the first season of the cartoon. Here's the table of contents, and they give you cover art credits, which wouldn't be in the actual text itself. But also they give you dates for everything. All covers penciled by Ramona Fradon and inked by Bob Smith unless otherwise noted. So, and then they say cover by. Most of the interiors were done by Ramona Fradon, especially toward the end of the run. But in the beginning, it was like Joe Orlando and other people. We'll get into that. And here's the rest of the table of contents. Super Friends, issue 1. Awesome stuff. I mean, the thing is that, like, back then they didn't know how to mimic cartoon style. So this is supposed to be in the cartoon universe, but it could fool me. I mean, it could basically be in the comics, as here they are smashing out the TV and all the villains. Now, at the time this debuted, Challenge of the Super Friends had already come out, and so it was obvious to just include villains with the heroes. Usually Super Friends fought random villains like mad scientists or animals or something. Fury of the Super Foes. Here's the terrible made-up characters that turned up in the beginning of the show. This would be way too racy for the cartoon. Here's Poison Ivy, who was never in the Super Friends cartoon, I don't think in anything. Toyman looked very different than that. This is the comic book Toyman for superpowers. Here's the famous Hall of Justice, which I'm pretty sure was just something made up for this show and has become iconic. Here's Super Friends issue 2. I love these little a DC TV comic with this little little icon there. They made up a lot of villains and heroes for this comic as well, and we'll probably glimpse them from time to time. I mean, here's one. So he's fighting Superman and everything. They found a way to include all the characters. This is very colorful stuff. This is awesome. Let's get this more center here. And Commissioner Gordon? I can't remember if Commissioner Gordon was in Super Friends at all. Here's this dude. So yeah, they had other characters turn up in this, as well as the classic villains. But they're pretty neat too. He shoots like dollar signs at these guys. Pretty neat stuff. Wonder Woman's part of the crew. Here's Superman and Batman. They've switched costumes, so that's neat. The Menagerie Man is like another character. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a snowstorm going on, but whatever. If you can, that's what that is. Here's the Atom, who turned up briefly in the show. Pretty neat. Here's Gleek, and here's Zen and Jaina, the Wonder Twins. Here's more random villains and characters that turned up in this comic alone. Pretty neat. Red Tornado, who turned up briefly. Actually, no, Red Tornado did not turn up. He turned up in the Superpowers action figure set, but not in the actual show that I remember. You could correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, basically Samurai had his powers. Now we're getting into Ramona Fradon and Bob Smith. Here he fights, here they fight these monster characters, but they turn out to be superheroes from their own time. And it's like, I can't remember what this guy's name is, and they talk in Interlac, which is a very comic book creation from a Legion of Superheroes. Fangclaw, that's this guy's name. Superior Man, Stretch Man, Subsea Man, and this is Batman and Batwoman from that time. That's pretty neat. There's more random characters. Here's, I think it looks like Mirror Master, but I could be totally mistaken. Political assassinations is his specialty. That would never have been in the cartoon. Here's some gorilla characters. So yeah, these are all fun comic stories with all your favorite characters drawn in a classic way, especially when Ramona Fradon gets involved, and characters from the cartoons and new characters. And believe it or not, I don't think this is Star Sapphire. It's some other character. But yeah, I remember reading like a couple of these as a little kid, from like back bins and things, and thinking that this is pretty fantastic stuff because it's what you want. It's all this comic book superhero action and everything. Really classic line art style. Here's Hot Girl. That's cool. Here's the Batmobile that was in the cartoon. I have this the Superpowers version of this. Super Friends. More Super Friends. Jan and Zena. Yeah, and one of these misleading covers, like, oh, they've turned evil, and they probably haven't. Let's get towards the end, because there's a lot of fun stuff that they've lifted from other things. So the limited collector's edition would have had reprints, but they probably made new stuff too, like this Wendy, Marvin, and Wonder Dog Jr. members of the Super Friends storyline. And this was from, I have that collector's edition. I should go through that one day. Here's how TV cartoons are made. This is pretty neat. It talks about the style that was at the time, which was just standard. Now this has sort of gone away. This cell animated stuff. Pretty neat. But it's pretty detailed too. Look at all this. Pretty good. More, yeah. This is fantastic. This is a cool thing to read now. I like this, how they describe, like, this is the comic style where they shade everything, and this is like the more simpler style of animation, so you don't have to recreate all that every single time, right? Alex Toth. So it's Alex Toth doing all of this. Pretty cool. JLA on TV. Here's the Super Baby. Superman. Here's like the parents and everything. Lon Pa Kent. It's all model sheets and things. Alex Toth designs. So you're seeing Alex Toth do his thing here. Plastic Man. Yeah, so this never appeared in the cartoon, but it was designed for like just a background thing. But yeah, it's cool that it's here. Pretty neat stuff. Hall of Justice. And some random Super Friends comics in the back. This is akin to something they would do in All New Super Friends Hour, where they would teach you something. And there you have it. Super Friends, Fury of the Super Foes. This is a DC Finest trade paperback. I hope you like going through this with me quickly. If you like what you saw, please give a like to this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Lots of great comic book stuff on here. So until next time, take care.